Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I posted a video. So I've mentioned in some of my previous videos that I drew a basically once in a lifetime elk tag here in Oregon, and that I'd been putting together some videos to kind of summarize that hunt and my preparation for that hunt. And for various reasons I haven't gotten around to it. This is what that is. So 21 points, that's what I had. 21 years putting in or saving for this hunt. Essentially, Oregon has 3 units. They're kind of called the Golden Triangle. There's 3 units that are managed for trophy elk hunting. Each has roughly 50 to 55 tags that are given out each year, lottery. And each year you don't draw, you build a preference point, so you have a better chance the next year. Well, 100% success for the year I put in required 21 points. The way Oregon allocates tags on limited entry hunts is 75% of the tags go to the highest point holders, and then 25% of the tags are completely random. So I always stood a chance, it's just never worked out. So finally I drew the tag, found out in June of 2023, and there are 4 of us that hunt together, and we decided to, and had been building points for this hunt, and we decided to take the hunts on one at a time, and I was number 3 out of 4. And in addition, my daughter, who is now 21, when she was 15, when she was 14, I took her deer hunting to see if she liked hunting, and she wasn't successful and she didn't think it was for her. So I said, well, how about trying elk hunting? And she said, okay, I'll try it for you, Dad, just see if I like it. So I put her in. The way Oregon works is you can put in for a controlled hunt for a youth, and if you're not successful, then you can put in for what's called a first-time youth tag, which is a guaranteed tag for a cow in certain units of the state. But first you have to put in for the limited entry tag and be unsuccessful. So I went ahead and put her in for one of these Golden Triangle hunts, and when she was 15, and I didn't even bother checking the results, and the results come out in June, I didn't even think about it. And in August I come home from work and my wife's like, why is our daughter getting a letter from an outfitter? And didn't make any sense to me. I opened it up and said, congratulations on your, elk hunt draw, successful draw. And she drew the tag. I couldn't believe it. So I reload. The first 2 hunters that have gone in our group, I've built the rounds for them, for their rifle. And so for my daughter, I bought her a 6.5 Creedmoor. She's 15. I built the round off a 140 AccuBond and had her practice quite a bit. And anyway, she ended up harvesting a nice bull. And then my 2 buddies that have hunted before me in the unit I went to in 2023, they were also successful. And I'm gonna show you pictures of those bulls right now, and then come back and kind of pick the video up and keep going. Okay, so you can see my daughter killed a nice 6-point, about a 300 bull. That was and always will be the best hunt I ever go on. She has told me after that hunt that hunting's not for her, but I give her a lot of credit for giving it a go, and she made a hell of a shot. Had her practice at the range a lot after I got the rifle zeroed. And ballistically, I felt she was good out to 400 yards. For me, on an elk, I went above 1,800 feet per second and above 1,500 foot-pounds of energy on impact. And that was, right around the 400-yard mark. And we were able to get within 405 yards of this bull, or the bull she harvested. And set her up on a tripod, and she drilled that sucker. He was on a steep incline. He tried to take a step uphill and just fell over backwards, instantly dead. Double lunged him. So the other two, both nice bulls, one in 2019 and the other in 2021. The first bull there was killed on day 5 of the hunt. It's a 19-day hunt, which is a long time for a rifle hunt. And the second bull scored about 340, and it was killed on day 12 of the hunt. And I was there for both. Well, I wasn't there for the second one when he killed it. I left early that morning, but I'd been with him the entire season up to that point. So one thing, I learned a lot in helping my daughter and helping these two friends hunt. One, I spent a lot of time in the unit. I scouted a lot. This unit, you can really glass quite a bit, which I really like, but you also have to be prepared to take long shots if you want to maximize your chances to harvest a quality bull. My two friends there, both of those bulls were killed at over 600 yards. So I knew in my preparation that I wanted to maximize the distance that I felt proficient at, so that I knew finding an elk probably wasn't going to be a problem given the time, the 19 days, and the amount of bulls that I was seeing. It's just finding the right bull. But when you find it, you want to be able to ethically harvest it and put it right down. So after doing a bunch of research, I decided to, I was building a 300 Win Mag. I'm left-handed, my dad was left-handed, and he passed on some guns to me, and I took one of the receivers and built a custom 300 Win Mag, which you'll hear about here in a second. But I decided after a lot of research to build a round off the 215 Berger. Be my first fragmenting bullet that I've used. Usually I use a bonded bullet, and they're fantastic. But a lot of my research with the 300 Win Mag and elk and distance shooting, it can be argued, but it is hard to go wrong with the 215 Berger. So here's a little video about some of the equipment, my rifle, and some of the equipment that I had or purchased in preparation for this hunt. All right, back at camp. There's Rita. Hey, Rita. Thought I'd go over the gear that I have for this hunt coming up. The hunt's in November, so I got a ways to go, but I don't want to procrastinate getting everything ready. So this is the rifle I'm going to be using. It's a 300 Win Mag. The barrel here is a Brux custom barrel. Got it fluted. Got a muzzle brake on the end. This is the, I forget the name of it, but it's the same company that makes the Little Bastard muzzle brakes. This one isn't a Little Bastard, but you know, these are nice because you can just screw them on here. You don't have to get them, you know, threaded on by a gunsmith or anything. You just do it yourself, and then you can loosen this nut here and straighten it up and then tighten. A little hard with one hand, but there you go. And it's got some ports in the top that you can put these little like dowels in or screws in to close them up. I've got 4 of them open. Then of course it has the side ports. Great, works fantastic. The recoil on this is really negligible. Then I've got a stock. There's a gunsmith in Pendleton, Oregon, who makes these. I had him put one together for me and then bed the action in the stock. I put on the Zeiss Conquest scope. I think it's a 4-16, 44 millimeter objective. It's the first time I've had a Zeiss scope. I usually have Leupold. I have a Leupold on my 260 Remington. So far I like the Zeiss. I would say that the clarity on the Leupold may be just a little better, but they're so close. I like the duplex reticle on both. because I use MOA dial to adjust for my long range shooting. I put a cheek rest on the back here. I've never used these before, but when I was at the range zeroing the rifle, I could tell just from the way I was kind of setting up to the rifle that a cheek pad might be beneficial, and it has been so far. I like it. This just comes right off, and you can put ammo in here. It's nice. It's made by Turabon. Bought that through probably Amazon. Then I got a Remington 700 action. I've got a jewel trigger that I put in. I like those. I have one in my 260 as well. You just can't go wrong with the jewel trigger. I think they're probably the best. Then I have a bipod on it. I can't remember the name of these. They're not Harris. They're fairly expensive. But the name of the brand is escaping me at this point. If I think of it, I'll mention it later. So that's the rifle. Oh, it's a 26-inch barrel. I have that on my 260 as well, a 26-inch barrel. This is the ammo that I'm building. It is a Berger 215 using H1000 powder, 73.5 grains of H1000. Right now I'm using Hornady brass. It's kind of the cheapest, and it's fine. It works well. Nosler, a little more expensive, but Hornady's worked well for me. Here's my favorite piece of hunting gear that I have bought, and it is expensive, and I saved up for it, and to me it has been well worth the investment. These are the Zeiss Victory range finding binoculars. They run about $3,400, but I absolutely love them. I had them a few years. You can put up to, I think, 10. You can put ballistic profiles for up to 10 rifles or rounds in the binoculars, and then you select your favorite, which is the one that you're using at the time. What I liked about it, I compared it to Swarovski's range-finding binoculars, Sig Sauer. What's the other brand that's up there with Zeiss and Swarovski? It escapes me at the time. But these were in my opinion, by far the best. One, they look and hold like a normal 10x42 binocular. They don't have some big bulge on the back for the battery pack or the range finding components. Battery goes right here right here behind this screw in this housing. The clarity is phenomenal. It's got the buttons here to range. It gives you the range once you let off the button, and then this is to set all everything you need for the system, brightness, the different settings that you want. It'll range. It's supposedly its maximum range is about 2,500 yards. That's in ideal conditions, but it'll range me anything at probably 1,300 yards and in, just about in any conditions, except of course if it's snowing hard. But I can't say enough about these. So what I do is I build the round, and I go to the range. I get the muzzle velocity, all the ballistics, build the round that I want. Then when I'm to the point, I enter the ballistics. There's an app that goes with these binoculars, and then once you enter the ballistics into the app, you can Bluetooth with the binoculars and transfer the data to the binoculars. So I've done that. So that's what I was using this morning when I was shooting at 442 yards and then 798 yards. I would range with these binoculars, and then it would immediately give me the MOA I would need to dial with my scope to make the shot. So that's what I was really doing this morning, was trying to make sure that the MOA that I was being given was, from an elevation perspective, accurate. And I believe
it was. So once again, favorite by far piece of hunting equipment that I have. I got a spotting scope back here. I saved up for that as well. It's a Kowa. Had it a couple years. I got it on special. It came with the case. It was about $2,800. It was either gonna be that or Swarovski. And I also have another Kowa that's quite a bit older, and it's been really good to me. Watched a bunch of YouTube videos comparing the Kowa with the Swarovski, and frankly, they are very comparable, and some felt that the Kowa let in a little more light. This is the big one. It's the 88 millimeter objective. So the only downside here is it's heavy, and I do lug it around. If I ever get enough money, they make a very compact spotting scope that I know gets really good reviews, so I may look at that someday. But you know, that's the only downside is the weight. If you're just going to be spotting from the truck or near the truck, it's phenomenal. I can't say enough about it. And then I've had this tripod. It's a Dolica. I bought it at Costco. It's aluminum. I've had it for years. It's been great to me. I bought a carbon fiber one here. It's Sirui, Sirui. I may be mispronouncing that. But the head is a Sirui, and so is the actual tripod here. And it's a little taller, although I think the aluminum here will expand and get, when it's fully set up, will be taller than the carbon fiber. But one thing about this aluminum is when you do have it fully set up, when I do, the very bottom leg down here, they're pretty narrow. So if it's a little windy, it's not the most stable. So I'm hoping that the little larger bottom legs on this carbon fiber will help with that a little bit. I haven't used the new one much, so I'm still getting used to it. But these VA5 heads from Sirui are really good, and I would recommend those. So that's some of my equipment that I'll be using on the hunt this fall. Just got to get dialed in.
All right, so now that I had my equipment, you know, really for me, it was about practicing. I went over multiple times during the summer, shot from 400 to 800 yards, even out past 1,000 a few times. I wasn't planning on shooting out to 1,000, but I wanted to be proficient to 800. And I really got to a point where all of my shots at 800 would have killed an elk, even dope in the wind. So I felt really good going into the season. Now it was just time to make it happen. I had a group of friends lined up to help. And this next set of videos here, you're gonna see us driving up to camp, setting up camp, and then some scouting that we did leading up to the opening day. If you look really close in the video where I'm driving to camp, after I go through the green gate, drive a little bit, you'll see a dark object running off on the left. It was a bull moose, a pretty nice bull moose. Actually, while we were over there, we saw 6 moose, 3 cows, and 3 bulls. Moose have been migrating into Oregon from Idaho, and evidently in the area that we were at, the population must be getting half decent. I mean, to see 6, they were all from the road while we were driving in the dark, either before sunrise or after sunset, heading back to camp. So anyway, enjoy this, and then we'll kind of come back and start the hunt.
All right, here we are, elk camp 2023. Drew a very premium unit. Took me 21 points. So hoping for the best. Tried to scout this morning. Came in yesterday afternoon, set up, but the cloud dampered visibility is really nothing to see except a bunch of gray. So this is supposed to burn off by about 11. We'll go out this afternoon. It's been snowing the last few days, so the elk probably like the sunshine, want to come out and get some warmth and do a little feeding. Take a look at camp here. Got a 14 by 16 wall tent with about a 14 by 10 cook shack. Got down to around, I don't know, 19 early this morning. So we're prepped for, supposed to be sunny for the next week after today. But then more weather coming in. Looks to be a little bit of warmer weather though. So hoping for maybe just mainly rain with a little snow at night. So see how it goes. Keep you posted. Hopefully harvest a nice branch bull. My two buddies, there's 4 of us that have had this tag, or going to have this tag. Two of them have already hunted. I've helped both of them. They both killed really nice 6-point bull elk. One scored, if you're into scoring, 325. The other scored just over 340. So there's some nice bulls here. You just got to take your time. It's a 3-week season, so it's a nice opportunity. All right, here we are. It's our second full day of scouting, although it's hard to count yesterday because the weather made scouting in the morning not doable. So we were able to scout in the evening and saw 3 bulls. One was pretty nice. Got some video of him. We'll show that here. And then this morning we came out. It's just a bluebird day. And so far we've seen at least 8 bulls. A couple had cows with them. Nothing I would consider shooting. A couple that were, they're probably 3 6-points. But, you know, maybe that 280 to 300 class. But we're going to go to another spot. I think they're starting to settle down and bed down maybe for the day. But I'm going to try and check a couple spots. Hopefully the sun, even though it's cold, it was 14 this morning. The sun should start to, get rid of some of this snow. All right, check in later. We got my main man, Vaughn, here. He's the Hawkeye when it comes to the elk. So we're in good hands. All right.
So as you can see, there's some pretty nice bulls there. I've seen nice bulls killed there, photos, governor's tag, things like that, that are well above 350. There's some bulls probably approaching 400 in these units, very few of them. Generally in my time scouting that for the last 5 years, I've seen hundreds of bulls. I go over during archery season and just look for bulls. I'll go over between rifle deer and the opener of elk and just look at bulls. I love filming bulls. I've got hundreds of them really that I've filmed with the spotting scope and using my cell phone. And all that time I've seen, some 330, 340 bulls. To get a bull above 350 in this unit, you really got to work and be patient. And I was definitely willing to be patient. People ask me, what are you looking for? And my response was, I'll know when I see it. It's just really one of those things where when you see the bull, you know that's the one. So we left that spot where we'd scouted, and we went to this next spot, which I'd scouted during the summer and fall, and I'd helped others hunt it, but it's a spot I always liked, and decided to go there and do some scouting before heading probably back to camp for some lunch. And lo and behold, we see this guy, and here you take a look. His front brow tines go like this. So that's a nice bull. Didn't expect that. There are bigger bulls in the unit, no doubt. But he has some unique characteristics which I have not seen. Well, particularly those fronts. I've not seen fronts on a bull like that. His main beams, 55 inches, estimating. Really nice main beams. So this is Saturday, late morning, about noon. The season doesn't open till Wednesday. So I still have several days of scouting left. And he wasn't by himself. He was with, all told, there's at least 60 elk, if not more. Looked like he was hanging with a group of cows, kind of managing them, 20 or so. There were a bunch of spikes. There were some other raghorn bulls. He was down off a finger towards the bottom of the draw. Up on the finger, bedded, were about 6 branch bulls, 3 or so 6 points that were nice, but nothing compared to him. He was definitely the king of the mountain. Nobody would come close to him or mess with him. So kind of the dilemma here is, one, here I found this bull that he's definitely a shooter. I know there's bigger bulls, and I have 19 days, and I'd have to watch him for 4 days before opener, keep track of him. Now, what makes that easier is that all the cows. If he's staying with those cows, make him easier to find. But he might at any time. Generally, by this time, the big bulls are off by themselves. But I know that there are some cows that come into late estrus, and this could have been what he was waiting for. He was definitely managing some cows. So I decided, I better study this bull, think about it. And all my friends were like, you need to shoot that bull. That's a 360 bull all day. And, I didn't think that. I was thinking more like 340, which is still really nice. I mean, if you look at him, the fronts are incredible. His main beams are 55 probably. So those two characteristics right there are 370 plus material. But the rest of him, it's pretty average. But still, those fronts and those main beams, it's hard to get past those. So watched him the rest of the day, got some more film of him, and went back to camp and kind of thought it over and decided that, if I passed on that bull, Could I find a bigger bull? Yes. Is it likely? Probably not. And I didn't want to look back and go, I should have pulled the trigger on that bull. So I decided that we were going to babysit this bull for 4 days if we could. We're going to get out there before light and leave after dark. And we did that every day for 4 days. And he moved those cows, and the herd size, like I said, he was managing about 20 cows. And he was bugling, all during the day, moving them around. Generally, we'd come in the morning, he'd be bedded with those cows down on a finger, down low, right at the ridge of the finger. Then he'd get up and feed with them for a while. Then they'd bed down, either in the open or in the bottom end timber. Now, one of the draws that he was in was very visible now we were back in their ways. I mean, it's not like we were near a main line, but we're back in on, single track road. There's a couple of them that if you take him to the right spot, you're going to see him. And that was a concern, a big concern. Probably my biggest concern, though, was the amount of spikes in the herd, the overall herd. Because in this unit, in addition to the 55 branch bull tags, you have 600 spike tags, which I don't like. I've been pretty vocal, I don't like it. To me, I understand opportunity, totally respect that. But the department manages these units for a trophy hunt. To me, the trophy hunt should come with a trophy experience. And one of those bulls my buddy killed, and the bull my daughter killed. So the one where my buddy killed his bull on day 5. Okay, we went in 4 or 5 days before season opener, just like here. We found him a nice bull, but it was with a lot of other elk, including a bunch of spikes, and they were bedded out in the open up to the day before season. And opening day, it was like, an army charging a hill. I mean, there were people all over. There were all kinds of gunshots, and there were spike hunters. Spikes were dropping all over the cave, all over the place. And before we could, locate that big bull, get in there to get a shot, I mean, the elk were dispersed everywhere. So that was my biggest concern. Generally, the way it works is, we'll show up 4, 5, 6 days before season, set up our tent and scout. And generally, when we're there on the 3 hunts that I've been on, you're the only ones, maybe 1 or 2 other big bull hunt camps set up. You kind of talk to them, get to know what they're doing. But a day or 2 before season, probably the day before, it's just a flood of camps, and they're all spike hunters. And it's not that they could road your hunt like they kind of did for my buddy, and I was concerned about it here. It's just you've got a spot picked out you want to get to, a closed road you want to walk into, and there they are. And it is what it is. There's still a lot of great bulls. So that was my biggest concern, was spike hunters were going to come in, start lobbing lead into the herd, and he was going to disperse, and I wasn't going to find him again. So the other draw that he would move into, and he'd move back and forth over these 4 days, you couldn't see from a road. You had to actually hike in, and so I was really hoping he'd go over there and stay, because we could hike in a ways and just sit and watch him. So Monday comes. We've been watching him now a day and a half. Monday comes, and he's in the draw where I don't want him to be, and a plane comes early morning, flies right over the top of the herd. It clearly is scouting for elk. It's a little Cessna flying really low, goes up, makes a big loop, and comes back around and goes right over the top of them again. Not great. They're going to be in here. They're going to be after the bull. But what can you do? So come Tuesday comes, get out there, and generally where we would put them to bed the night before, they'd be feeding up to dark. Come back in the morning, this was each day, and he would be bedded, generally in the open, down low on a finger, on a little tiny flat spot on a finger. Um, and that was his pattern. He'd get up and feed for a while, and then he'd bed down. And then he'd get up late afternoon and feed, bed right up till we left. So I get in there on Tuesday, season opens Wednesday, and he is in the draw that's really visible. But right as light is breaking, the sun isn't even up yet, he moves the cows over into the other draw. Not only his little herd, but a bunch of other elk too. There's another 6-point in there moving some cows too. It stays in the visible draw, but he takes his cows over the top and into the other draw, and I'm like, breathing a sigh of relief. So we hike around, get over there, and that draw's more timbered. And we can hear him bugling, but we can't see him until, 3:30, 4 in the afternoon. And finally we spot him. He's moving, pushing cows, and he's towards the bottom of the draw. So the left side, from where we're sitting, the left side of the draw is timbered. The right side is just an open hill slope. So we leave it dark and say, okay, we'll be right back here in the morning. Another buddy came in to help, so we had 3 total, me and 2 others. He was hobbled up. I couldn't really hike, so the next morning we sent him to a lookout where you could look into the draw that can be seen from a road, just in case he'd moved over during the night, while me and my other hunting partner hiked in to the draw where we'd put him to bed. So we hiked in the dark, got out there super early. I mean, way before we needed to be, but I didn't want to take any chances. Hiked in the dark, waited and waited some more for it to finally get to where you could see. Kind of walked out on this knob that looked down into the draw, and I immediately spotted the herd in the dark. I mean, you could see ways, but they were at this point 800 yards away, so I could barely make out the shapes of the elk through my binoculars. He had moved them from the timbered side up over to the open side, and it was down a little finger about midway on a very tiny flat spot. A lot of the cows were bedded around him and down over the edge from him, and so it was 800 yards from where I was standing. I checked the wind. It was blowing 3 to 6 miles per hour, which the wind can really blow at this spot. And I'd shot in 6 mile per hour wind from 800, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to take the chance. So I looked down the finger, found a spot I thought I could get to. Figured we had some time because he wouldn't get up right away. He would wait a little while, and that was his MO at least. So we hiked down the finger towards him a bit, kind of hanging to one side, popped up on a nice flat spot, got set up. I ranged him at 698 yards to where he was bedded. Got the MOA off my binoculars, got set up, and now it was just a waiting game. Had to wait for him to get up, and I wait for the cows to clear. There were cows around him bedded. And then I wanted to wait for him to get up. I could have, you'll see here in a bit, there was an opportunity. I had opportunity to shoot him bedded. And in hindsight, maybe I should have, given what happened. But I just felt my shot window was better, larger, with him getting up. So it took about 25 minutes or so being in position for him to the cows to clear, and then to him to actually stand up, and then he took a kind of a step away from me and presented a shot. And here is a video. I didn't know it, but my buddy had set up the camera and was filming me and himself while we were watching the elk while waiting for it to get up. And here's the last bit of that.
Okay, he's running downhill. Not far. He's hurt. He's slowing up. Okay. Down. He's down. He's down. Okay, he's rolling. Sliding.
I can't see him.
He's in the rocks. Hold on. Hold on. He's still rolling. He's rolling.
Can't see him.
He's going behind this tree. Move right.
Move right.
Move right. He's got to be at the bottom.
Oh, he's dead. He's done. He's done. Oh my. All right. Apologize for the language. The excitement just overtook me. Yeah, it was incredible. Nervous when he was rolling. I didn't even really think about it at the time. Just later, I was like, "Oh gosh, I hope, the meat got tenderized, but I hope the antlers didn't break." So my buddy ran my rifle. He was clearly dead, so I ran my rifle and some gear back to the truck while I waited there. He came back. We hiked down to him. The antlers were not broken. The antlers actually stopped him from rolling by digging into the soft dirt. He did roll through some rocks, but I was amazed that the antlers didn't break. So as far as hitting him, the first shot, he was done. It went right through the boiler room, hit him behind the shoulder, a little high. Now, he was down, his angle down through his vitals and out the other side. Didn't really waste any meat. Missed the off shoulder. About a golf ball size exit wound. So he was done. After the first shot, he immediately ran and turned and was coming straight towards me. Only about 20 yards at a slow trot. And, with an elk, I don't take any chances. So I racked, as you saw, another round and put the crosshairs when he was about to come. He was probably going to tip over at this point, but I didn't want to take any chances. I put the crosshairs right on his neck here, and I hit him right through the neck and took out his spine. And he dropped like a rock and rolled. So very happy with the performance of the rifle and the round. The practice really paid off. That, like I said, I knew that I would find an elk. I just wanted to be able to put it down when the time came. So extraordinarily happy. 25 minutes into a season a hunt you've waited 21 years for. That's not what I imagined. It's not what I pictured. I pictured hunting multiple days, most of the season, because I did know that as the season goes, it gets better. 10 days in, of those 55 tag holders, there's only a few left. To me, the quality of the bulls gets better as the season goes, from my experience. But I just couldn't pass this bull up. I think I would have regretted it. And I'm extremely happy. He did end up he does exactly have 55-inch main beams, 55 and a half on one side, 54 and a half on the other. Those fronts, the longer one's 23, the shorter one's 20. I rough scored him. I'm not a scorer, but I came out to 335. So he was close to 340, but really, it's, myself included, get too wrapped up in scoring. Trophy is subjective. And for me, I couldn't be happier. So another buddy showed up, and he was on such a steep angle. I mean, incredibly steep. Probably the hardest elk I've had to process from a location standpoint, just because of the steepness. We found one rock that we could tie off to that was sticking up enough. to where we tied his legs off, and you know, we're able to process him, and we boned him out right there. And so we probably started working on him about 8:30 after pictures and everything, and we got the last load out about 7:30, 7:45 at night. I thought about, once I got it to, we had to go up to the ridge line and then up another 700 yards. I thought about hanging it and the meat and coming back for it in the morning. It's gonna be plenty cold enough, but the forecast was for rain. And so my buddies were like, no, let's just get it out of here. And they were right, because once we got back to camp, it just started pouring and poured all night, and I'd have made us go back, just because I, you know, wouldn't want the meat to go bad. So we were gonna stay another day, just relax, but the fact that it was raining so much and some of the meat had gotten wet, I wanted to get it back, get it to a locker. So we left the next day, got it back. I've already gotten the meat back here at home. It's awesome, it's excellent. And I'm gonna get the bull mounted. So that's my hunt. Can't wait to go on another one. The fourth hunting partner is gonna put in this year. I think it'll be about a 50% draw. He was 1 point behind me. So if he doesn't get it this year, he'll get it next year, and hopefully he'll kill a big one. So I'm looking forward to that. So I hope you enjoyed the video. It was an incredible experience. I've got a few pictures here as I sign off, and hopefully I'll post again. I'm coming up on 2 years on my Ford Tremor, 2022 Ford Tremor half ton, and I'll probably do an update on how it's doing. It's got about 37,000 miles on it now, so I've been packing on the miles. All right, take care.